Perhaps we haven't met. I'm Discord.
Another chaotic battle!
Taste the scream of death.
Greetings, comrades. This is 88 Gelu, and as you can maybe able to tell, this is a magic deck video. So it was suggested to me a while ago when I asked what other series people would want to see, that some people would want to see some of the magic decks that I have. So just a bit of a disclaimer before I start showing you guys the deck is, like my chaotic and much earlier on Yu-Gi-Oh decks, these are just decks that I've compiled from the cards that I have. They are not nearly optimal decks. They're not really tournament valid or tournament quality decks, but they're just little fun little decks that I've made from the cards that I have that work well. So just to explain a bit about Magic before I go into it, if you would guys like me to make a tutorial on how Magic works, you can either see the video that I made from coming back from camp, where we go through a bunch of the tutorials in the Magic Duels Magic the Gathering online game, or I can do one with showing you guys actual cards. So you guys could just put that in the comments if you're interested. But anyway, what I'm going to explain is basically there are 3 different categories of decks. There are many different kinds of decks that you can build. There's 3 different formats. There is casual, which is what this is, where basically you can use any cards at all. I don't believe there's any limitations on what cards you can use. There is, I believe it's called either standard or modern. Where basically, like all other cards, these come in different sets. And in standard and modern is decks made from just the 3 most recent sets and the current core set. The core sets are basically like a yearly set of cards that Wizards of the Coast makes for Magic the Gathering that consist of mainly a lot of reprints of older cards. And then there's Commander. Commander is very complicated. But I can go over more what sets Commander apart if I do my Commander deck video. But Commander, basically, like casual, there are banned cards, but it's not limited to certain sets. And it's basically using a 100 card deck with a special system called a Commander card. But we will get into that some other time, potentially. So now onto the deck that I have here. As you can see, I've separated my cards. Here I have my 2 different types of lands, as well as my special land, though I only have 1. Here I have my artifacts, my instants, enchantments, and creatures and tokens, but we don't need to worry about them. They're just there. There are no sorceries in this deck. Basically, how you want to build a Magic the Gathering deck is it requires a minimum of 60 cards. Most of my decks go between 60 and 70 cards. This one had 63, but for the sake of these videos, I took out the 3 cards just so I can make them a bit more optimal, because 60 is the recommended. And then with that, you should have around 23 lands. Sometimes a bit more, sometimes a bit less. And then like half of your deck should be creatures. But once again, this could change depending on what kind of deck you have. So the style of this deck is it's red-white, so it uses mountains and plains. Soldier rush deck. So we will go through the various cards, ending with the creatures, because the creatures are the most complicated. The basic... How this deck works, basically, is... It's a lot of low-cost creatures that... and a lot of cards to help make those small creatures stronger. And there's a lot of First Strike incorporated. First Strike is a type of ability. Once more, we can get into that if you guys want me to make a tutorial video. So we have 12 plains, 12 mountains, 1 special land, which is a Boros Guildgate. It enters the battlefield tapped, and you can tap it for either red or white mana. The artifacts I have here is, I have the Sharpened Pitchfork. Equipped creature has First Strike. If it's a human, it gets +1/+1. There are a lot of humans in this deck. This costs 2 mana to play and 1 to equip. Then we have the Ring of Thune, 2 mana to play. Also 1 to equip. Equipped creature has Vigilance. If it's white, it gets a +1/+1 counter on each every one of your upkeeps. The enchantments. There are basically only 3 big cards in this deck, and 2 of them are enchantments. And they are Gleam of Battle. Also, most of this deck is actually fairly easy to make, as there are only like 4 rares, and there's a lot of cards that you can sub in and out for with this kind of deck, because this kind of format like this is actually really easy to do. So we have Gleam of Battle. Oh wait, Gleam of Battle is actually uncommon. Never mind, there are 3 rares in this deck. It costs 6 mana. And whenever a creature you control attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Cathra's Crusade costs 5. It's rare, and whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control, which is really powerful because, as I said, you have a lot of low-cost creatures, so you'll be able to send out multiple creatures in each turn. Then we have a Lightning Talons, 3 mana. It's an enchantment aura. The enchanted creature has +3/+0 and First Strike. And then we have a Bonds of Faith, 2 mana. Enchanted, it's an aura. Enchant a creature. If the enchanted creature is a human, it gets +2/+2. If it's not, it can't attack or block. So you can use it on either your opponent's big non-human creatures, or use it on one of your many humans to make it tougher. Then we have the instants. Furious Resistance, 1-drop. Target blocking creature gets +3/+0 and First Strike, very useful. Titan Strength, also 1-drop. Target creature gets +3/+1 and Scry 1. Weapon Surge, also 1-drop. Target creature gets +1/+0 and First Strike. Overload, so instead of paying the 1, you can pay 2, and all of your creatures get +1/+0 and First Strike. Fortify, 3. Cost 3. Choose one. Creatures you control get +2/+0 until end of turn, or creatures you control get +0/+2 until end of turn. Martial Glory, 2 mana. Target creature gets +3/+0. Target creature gets +0/+3. Another Weapon Surge. And Thunder Strike. 2 mana, target creature gets +2/+0 and First Strike. So as you can tell, first strike is really important in this deck. So now we have the creatures finally. There are 3 Wojek Halberders. They cost 2 mana. Battalion, whenever Wojek Halberder and at least 2 other creatures attack, Wojek Halberder gains first strike. It is a 3/2. Vijanu First Blade costs 3 mana. Haste 2/2, and when it enters the battlefield, it gets +2/+2. So since it has haste on the turn when it can first attack, it's a 4/4. There are 2 of those. Elite Vanguard, 1-drop 2/1 human soldier. Wojek Halberders is also a human soldier. Vijanu Fistblade is a Vijanu soldier. Spear Point Oread, 3 mana, 2/2 with first strike, or you can pay 6 to enchant it to one of your creatures with +2/2 on first strike. True Fire Paladin, 2 mana, 2/2 with vigilance. You can tap 1 red, 1 white to give it +2/+0, or 1 red and 1 white, or both, to give it first strike. Observant Alseid, 3 mana for a 2/2 with vigilance, or bestow it for 5 to give a creature +2/2 and vigilance. Archetype of Courage, 3 mana, 2/2. All creatures you control have first strike. Creatures your opponent controls lose first strike. Really helpful. Young Pyromancer, 2 mana, 2/1. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put a 1/1 red elemental creature token onto the battlefield. That's where tokens come in. They're summoned by abilities only. Sorry about that disruption, people. Things happened. Anyway. So, one of the other rares, Firemane Avenger, 4 mana. It is a 3/3 with flying. And Battalion, whenever it attacks with at least 2 other creatures, deal 3 damage to target creature or player, and gain 3 life, not or. Oh, I guess there are 4 rares. Clearly I'm good at keeping track of things. Celestial Archon. This is one of the other big guys. He is 5 and bestow for 7, flying first strike 4/4. So if he is bestowed, the enchanted creature gets +4/4 flying and first strike. Bomber Corpse, 2 for a 1/2. Battalion, whenever Bomber Corpse attacks with 2 other creatures, deal 1 damage to target creature or player. Now this, I believe, just checking so I don't make a fool of myself, is the last rare. Hell Rider, 4 mana, 3/3 haste. Whenever a creature you control attacks, Hell Rider deals 1 damage to the defending player. So if you have like 20 creatures and they all attack, even if your opponent can block them all, your opponent will still take 20 damage. So that is very useful for a large-scale attacking deck like this. Veteran Swordsmith, other soldier creatures you control get +1/+0. It is a 3/2 with that costs 3. 2 Sunhome Guild Mages. They cost 2. They're 2/2s. You can tap 3 creatures you control get +1/+0. And he also has tap 4. You get a 1/1 red-white soldier creature token with haste. So there are 2 of him. Sky Knight Legionnaire costs 3. It is a 2/2 with flying and haste. There is also 2 of that. A Crowan Crusader, 1/1 for 1. Whenever you cast a spell that targets a Crowan Crusader, put a 1/1 red soldier creature token with haste onto the battlefield. That ability is called Heroic, and there are 2 of him as well. Then we have Veteran Armor Smith. He costs 2, he's a 2/3. Other soldier creatures you control get +0/+1. And that is this 60 card deck. As this is just a load of tokens to account for all the cards that give you tokens. And the 3 cards that I removed, I will just take them out so I can show you guys why I removed them, is the Boros Key Rune, which costs 3. You can tap it for 1 red or 1 white, or tap both to make it a 1/1 white soldier artifact creature with double strike. Reason I took it out is its second ability isn't really used that much in my experience, and its first ability, if I just have a land instead, with now that I have 3 less cards in this deck, is more likely to happen. It's going to be a bit more useful than paying 3 mana to play this. Fortress Cyclops, because even though he's good, there shouldn't be too many high cost cards in this deck. He costs 5 and he's a 3/3. When he attacks, he gets +3/+0, and when he blocks, he gets +0/+3. He's a Cyclops soldier, which I forgot to mention. All of these guys are soldiers except for Sky Knight Legionnaire, which is a knight, and Sunhome Guildmage, which is a wizard. Hell Rider's a devil. Celestial Archon's an archon. Firemane Avenger's an angel. Young Pyromancer is a shaman, but he's still a human. All those previous guys that look like humans are humans. Observant Elised and Spearpoint Oread are nymphs. True Fire Paladin is also a knight. And there we go. And then the last card that I took out was Gather the Townsfolk. It costs 2 mana. It's a sorcery. It's the 1 sorcery I had, and it gives you 2 1/1 human creature tokens. And if you have 5 or less life, it instead gives you 5. But the thing is, I don't really have 5 or less life, because either I'm going to die or I'm not. And I usually don't have this card when I need it at that point in time. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Please don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe. Once again, tell me if you guys like me making these Magic the Gathering deck videos. If you want, I could always do them on Magic Duels instead, or in addition to. That would be fun as well. If you guys want tutorials on how to play Magic or how to build good decks and stuff, you can also put that in the comments and I will check it over. And a side note, we have reached over 400 subscribers, so thank you guys. You are all awesome and I really appreciate it. Maybe we'll make a special video for that at some point. So yeah, guys, thanks again for watching. Goodbye.